Hello, beautiful people, gorgeous people on Instagram. Hello, and hello to you on Facebook. Welcome to Monday Magic Webinar. I absolutely love coming on every Monday to provide some information and share some stories on how we can provide. I just want to provide a bit of motivation, inspiration and encouragement for you, not only for the week ahead, but also that you can take away and you can use throughout your entire life. This is what I'm here to do. My name is Ali Sugars and I'm the Motivation Mama. And as I said, so Monday Magic Webinars coming to you every Monday at 9 a.m. Adelaide time. So the topic of today's webinar is we are going to talk about something that I think a lot of us may have experienced pretty well over the last year in some way, shape or form, and particularly yesterday as well. So I want to talk on the topic of how to overcome loneliness and isolation. So I have been doing some personal development over the last, I've been doing it for a while now, but this particular course that I've started doing in the last couple of weeks, I have been doing a lot of deep soul searching, right? And I've had to confess to myself just how much last year and everything that went along with it affected me in the area of loneliness. Now, I had been making jokes about this to try and cover up my true feelings and how affected I really was becoming with it. But in all honesty, there was a deep seriousness to how I was feeling, right? There was lots of deep feelings around that, but I wasn't allowing myself to go deeper into these feelings, and I was making jokes. So I wanted to share with you today a little bit about, some journeys, or a journey that I've been on throughout my life in the last year as well. But particularly because yesterday was Valentine's Day, right? Okay. And, and as a lady who, although I'm not single now, okay, I have been there plenty of times, I wanted to come and talk about that aspect of it as well. I just want to put it out there, okay? It's something that I don't think gets talked about often enough. So while I've been on this self-development journey, I've been thinking a lot about, stuff that's happened throughout my life, and I've really come to kind of look back on after coming out of my first marriage. Now, this was years and years ago, and this was a domestically violent relationship, or quite a toxic relationship, right? And when I came out of that relationship, I was all of a sudden a single mum. I was all of a sudden doing life and motherhood all alone, right? Something I had never experienced before. What I realize about myself now is when I was in that situation, I was not seeing myself, because I wasn't married, and all of a sudden my kids didn't have a two-parent household. I wasn't seeing myself as a complete person in that aspect. I had watched my parents, have a very happy marriage. I mean, they were almost married for 40 years before my mum passed away. And, they raised 3 children together. So my perception of a happy person was someone who had to have a significant other in their life, and someone who had to raise their children with 2 parents in the same household. That was the idea of success. That was my idea of fulfillment, and, something that I wouldn't be lonely in. Right. I was also thinking that was the way, I had to be, or there was a certain way that I had to act, a certain way that I had to be to present what I thought at the time was a perfect version of myself. So, and this was to get, this wasn't just to get my ex-husband to pay attention to me, but this is like any man, to get any man or any person to pay attention to me so that I wouldn't end up in that space of loneliness. So there was a lot of soul searching that went on at that moment. But what happened was, after coming out of that marriage, is quite quickly, you know, I was very lonely. And I found myself going on a search for a man, because that was what I thought I had to have in my life, or someone I thought I had to have in my life. I went online, I found someone quite quickly who I ended up marrying quite quickly. Now, unfortunately, this was the wrong time, wrong person. I truly believe that both of us got married for the wrong reasons, and one of those reasons was because of loneliness. We were both lonely, which, you know, is not a reason in itself to get married. You know, did I love this person? I think there was a part of me, yes, that absolutely did. I think if I didn't love him to an extent, we wouldn't have got married. But the underlying reason why we got married was wrong, because we were lonely. That's what I truly believe, right? And you know, that marriage was what it was. I ended that relationship because it got to the point where I started to see that I didn't need to be a certain way. I didn't need to have that man in my life. I didn't need to, I was putting my happiness on someone else, when in actual fact, all I needed was me. You know, I needed to be happy in myself. I needed to just be Ali, you know, and actually I had to go on a journey to discover who Ali was. That was quite a big journey in itself. But, you know, I had to, after that second marriage, let the idea of having a significant other in my life go. I let that idea go. I had to let it go, and I did let it go. And it was actually quite a freeing. It kind of freed me up mentally and in many other ways, just to be happy within myself. Now, when I did this, when I gave up that perception and I just started to love Ali, who Ali is, it was actually quite amazing. I ended up finding the love of my life, right? And there's a whole story behind that, which is actually quite funny. So I got drunk one night, right? Not proud of that, but I went online. I signed up for a dating site, and you know, it was kind of as a joke. It wasn't really because I wanted anyone in my life. It was kind of, I was, you know, whatever. I just did it. But when I realized, you know, that I'd done it, it was like, okay, well, you know, it is what it is. It's going to be what it is. If anything's going to happen, great. If it's not, that's okay. I didn't, you know, stay on it to actively find someone, if that makes sense. And I went on a couple of dates and nothing happened, and that was fine. It was all cool. And then, until now, keep in mind, I'm nearly 6'4". I'm quite a tall woman. Until this guy messaged me, and his screen name was 7'2", and I've gone, that's crap. No one's 7'2". There's no one that tall. Anyway, long story short, got talking to this guy, and he invited me out for a coffee, and I'm standing across the street. I'm about to cross the street to go to the coffee shop, and I see this really tall guy with red hair standing there. And I went hubba hubba. And anyway, we have now been together for nearly 8.5 years. So, but my point behind that story is that I had to give up, you know, the thought that I had to have someone in my life. It's almost like, for me, it was, I had to give up almost that desperation. And once I did, he was attracted into my life. And it was beautiful. Now, if you, speaking of Valentine's Day, okay, if you think I've been with Craig for 8.5 years, and I know if his family are watching, you guys will get this. If you are thinking that I was the lucky, you know, a lucky lady who got yesterday flowers and chocolates, no. While I love my Craig, he is the most, one of the most unromantic men on the planet. I didn't get any of that. But do you know what? That's okay. I don't mind, because he is loving in a lot of other ways, but that's, you know, let's not go there. Anyway, so let's go on to another topic, right? Let's talk about what's been happening over the last year or so. I mean, we all know that, and I'm sure that every single one of us in one way, shape or form has been forced into a situation where we've had to cope with loneliness because of isolation, right? Isolation. That's a word we all know very well. And, you know, my heart goes out to you beautiful people in Melbourne at the moment. I can't imagine. I'm in Adelaide, and I can't imagine what you guys are going through. And Perth recently as well, and, you know, all different states in Australia. So with this, you know, and this is really where the awareness has come for me while doing this self-development recently, is that for me, as a self-confessed extrovert, right, I have had particular difficulty with this, right? I've really struggled with not being able to be around people as much face to face. I've really struggled with it because, you know, in Adelaide around me, I have a bunch of amazing people. I call them my peeps, right? Who, you know, this is my core support group, who we would do, all of us would do anything for each other, you know, but we couldn't go out to dinner on a regular basis. We couldn't catch up with each other on a regular basis. We couldn't hug, right? I'm an extrovert, I'm a toucher, I'm a hugger. We couldn't do any of that. And even now, there's a connotation of hugging someone in public, which is, I find, quite difficult. But I couldn't do it, you know, I was missing these people. And that was a struggle for me. But ironically, here's the irony of this, right? I am an extrovert who also suffers social anxiety. That's pretty ironic, isn't it? Right? So when I do manage to go out and meet people, particularly in a crowded situation and particularly new people, I find it difficult. It's a really weird, bizarre, I find, place to be. So an extrovert with social anxiety, put that together. But one thing I will say though is what I am grateful for in this time where I haven't been going out, you know, we haven't been able to see people face to face. I am so bloody grateful for the many new friends that I have made online. You know, and I'm proud to call these people my friends. You know, even though we've never met in person, I'm very proud to call my friends. And I got to say, you know who you are, and I am itching to get to meet you in person, and praying that it's going to happen sometime this year. I'm just going to put it out there to the universe. It's going to happen in June, July this year when I take my mid-year holidays. Just put that out there. But, you know, you can see that, you know, there are many different forms of loneliness. There are many different forms of isolation. You know, we can self-impose them without knowing it. So I want to talk about now some simple things that I have done throughout my life and throughout, you know, particularly the last year, to help keep myself sane in that feeling of isolation and loneliness. And I've also been able to, I'm grateful to be able to have helped other people along the way. So let's talk about those things, shall we? So the first thing is, and I think we would have heard a lot about this yesterday, is to spoil yourself. Don't wait for someone else to come and show you the love. Love yourself. Spoil yourself. We all deserve it. You know, don't wait for someone to ask you out on a dinner date. Take yourself out on a dinner date. I used to do that all the time, you know, or buy yourself some flowers. I think we heard a lot about that yesterday, being Valentine's Day. Now, I'm going to go out after this and I'm going to buy myself some flowers because God love Craig, he didn't buy me any. But, you know, I didn't buy them yesterday because, well, I refused to pay the exorbitant prices for them on Valentine's Day. But I'll be going out today because I want to. I want to spoil myself and buy myself some flowers. And it's going to feel fantastic, I know. So, but if you're alone, you know, what's wrong with going and buying yourself some flowers? Indulge yourself, you know, spoil yourself with things that you wouldn't normally do. And there's nothing wrong with taking yourself out on a dinner date. It's actually really fun. And you would be amazed. When I have done this, I've taken myself out, you know, I've gone out by myself when I was single, and I've met people who they kind of, it's, how do I describe it? It's kind of quite weird. You go out, like, you know, you're sitting there in a restaurant or wherever you're sitting by yourself, and it's almost like people feel sorry for yourself. So they start to come and talk to you and then you make a new connection, you know, whether they feel sorry for you or whatever, or whether they're just seeing someone by themselves and they want to come and say hi. But I made a lot of new connections by doing this, going and, you know, saying, sitting in a restaurant by myself, people coming up and saying hi to me. It was awesome. So it's a good way to get to know people. Now, obviously, you know, I get that certain places in Australia you can't do that, or in the world you can't do that right now. And please be safe if you're going to go out and do that. But that is one way to help with the loneliness and isolation, is to spoil yourself, right? Now, if you need to, a really good idea, because along with the loneliness and the isolation can come, you know, overwhelm and depression. Overwhelm of whatever's happening, overwhelm, you know, because we're seeing all the shit that's going on around us. So if you need to, get away from social media, get away from the news, turn the TV off. If it is affecting you negatively, do not watch it. This is a trap that I fell into, and I think all of us possibly have fallen into this at one stage over the last year, you know, is watching stuff over and over again. Yes, we need to be informed, but it's not good to drown ourselves in it, if you like. So, you know, I've said this on the webinar before, is if you need to, turn it off, give yourself a break, turn it on for 10 minutes on the day, you know, get the updated information, get what you need to get, and then turn it off. Or you can set notifications on your phone when certain news items come up. You can set notifications to come up at a certain time only. So you haven't always got that temptation to check your notifications, you know. Because with the news as well, what I have seen, and I'm sure many of you have, is that everything is sensationalized. You know, you listen to the language that they use in their news reports. It is sensationalized language. And to listen to that over and over and over again is not doing our mental health any good. If we're already in a state of, you know, overwhelmed, depression, for whatever reason, but particularly because of loneliness, we don't need to continue to listen to that. So turn it off, do what you need to do, set notifications on your phone to get updated information as you need to. But get away as much as you possibly can from the negativity. Another way is to stay connected in any way that you can, right, with your friends and your new connections. Or make new connections like I did last year. I made so many, it was amazing. But, you know, if you haven't got one, find your tribe. Find those who you just adore and love. And what happens too is, I've found this many times, is what happens is when you start to do this, you'll actually be amazed at how people in similar situations are drawn to each other, right? Because we connect with each other at, you know, the same level of understanding. So, you know, if you're lonely, for instance, you know, I was lonely as a single mum particularly when I first became a single mum. And it was amazing when I would drop my kids off at school, how all the single mums would kind of be like, we were like magnets drawn to each other, you know. And what ended up happening in that circumstance was I made a friendship group of single mums where we hung out on a regular basis. We did craft together. You know, these were my people. These became my connections. We could talk on a level of understanding with each other that we all truly got where we were at. So stay connected, you know. I won't mention names, but I know this incredible young lady, incredible. Like, she lives in Melbourne, or she lives in Victoria, country Victoria. And of course, we all know that Victoria are currently in a snap lockdown, right? But instead of sitting back and, you know, feeling sorry for herself, what this incredible woman has done was she started a little Facebook group, and she set theme nights for the 5 nights that everybody is in lockdown. She's invited a bunch of friends, and every night they do dress up in the theme that she's put, and they go onto a Zoom call. How incredible is that? You know, that is being active, you know, proactive. That is an incredible thing to do. I think so. They had disco night on Friday, Saturday, I don't know, whenever it was. They've had disco night. I know they've had romantic night, obviously, for last night. But, you know, she didn't sit back and just go, poor me. She was proactive, but not only for herself, but to help other people. And, you know, that I just think that is an incredible thing to do. I don't know that I would have thought of that. So you know who you are, beautiful girl. I don't want to mention your name just in case you don't want me to, but you know who you are, and I'm very proud of you. The last one that I just spoke about, right, connecting with people. So connecting with new people in particular. Now, this can be a challenge if we've been alone or in isolation for a long time, right? We may have gotten used to it. We may have even gotten comfortable with it. This was me last year, and this is another depth that I've had to go to in my own personal development, is that what I learned about myself is that I'm in Adelaide, and we are very, very lucky here, very lucky. You know, we've had very minimal lockdown, full-on lockdown, right? But what I found I was doing was I was using the excuse of a lockdown, and I was creating my own self-imposed lockdown. And I was using it as an excuse not to get out in society. Again, morning Yvette, beautiful lady, how are you, gorgeous? And again, you know, I was using that as an excuse, you know, to not get out in society. I was, again, the irony, I was complaining about being lonely, but I was scared to go out and allow myself to be among people. We're in stage 4 lockdown for 5 days in Victoria. Yeah, exactly, darling. I know, and my heart goes out to you, Yvette, honestly. I have mentioned that before in this live too, so my heart goes out to you people in Melbourne. So yeah, I was scared to allow myself to go out and be among people, because I had put myself into a self-imposed lockdown. Now, late last year, I had the opportunity to go out to an expo that a couple of incredible friends of mine, you know, I've known them for a little while now. They were running this expo, and I had promised them that I would go. Now, I'm the type of person, when I promise I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to go. I'm going, you know, I want to keep that promise. But what happened was I found that before I had to leave to go to this expo, and for a good couple of hours beforehand, my social anxiety kicked in. I started to feel sick. I started to shake. You know, all the things that go on. And those of you with social anxiety or any type of anxiety will get, you know, will understand, know what goes on. I was this close to allowing it to get the better of me and not going to this expo, because I was scared, you know. I was scared to go into a group. I was scared to put myself in front of people. You know, it was really difficult, and I had to draw on all the skills that I've learned throughout my life to push through that anxiety, to push through that worry, And, you know, I really had to draw on my extrovert in that sense to go and be able to join in. And I'm so grateful that I did, because I went, I had a ball. I caught up with people that I hadn't caught up with for quite a while. I met new people. They all won a prize. It was awesome. But even better than that was that I got the connection that I needed with people, right? And the biggest thing for me in that aspect was, you know, redrawing on all the stuff that I have learned about having confidence in myself, you know, knowing that I was going to be okay, that I was okay in that situation, I was safe, you know, remembering that I'm an incredible person, and those who are meant to be in my life, and this is something important that I think we need to remember too, is those that are meant to be in our life, they're going to love us just who we are. We shouldn't have to act, pretend to be someone to make them happy. Just be ourselves. Be yourself. You know, this is what a lesson I learned when I left my second marriage, was I'm just going to be me. Yes, I've got to learn who I am first, and I went through that whole process. But, you know, it was like, if people don't like me, that's okay, because, you know, they might not meant to be in my life, and that's okay. So what about you? You know, as I said, you know, confidence was a big thing. You know, we have to have confidence to be able to give this stuff a go, to be able to put ourselves out there and put ourselves in front of strangers, if you like, put ourselves in front of new people. We have to have confidence to do that, to push ourselves to connect or reconnect with people that we haven't seen in a while. Like, I've had to push through a lot of that. So I want to just finish this live today, this webinar, by inviting you to a half-day workshop that I actually have coming up that's actually called Awaken Your Confidence. Imagine that. Wow. And so at these workshops, you know, I expand on a lot of the stuff that I've been talking about this morning. But I go very much in depth to talking with you about how you can develop your self-awareness and your self-confidence. You can just, you know, kick that self-doubt away. Just don't have it anymore, right? With the overwhelm, we talk about how to not let that get the better of you, because if we allow it to, it can. But I teach you how not to do that. I teach you how to accept your imperfections and love the perfectly imperfect you. I love that saying. I love it. We talk about creating the life, you know, that you deserve, and embracing all the changes. And there's so many bloody changes at the moment happening around us. We talk about how to embrace the good changes and the difficult changes as well. And then we talk about how to connect with your future and create the life of abundance, you know, that all of us deserve. So ladies, this is a women's only event, and if you are interested in coming to the half-day workshop, we would absolutely love to have you. Oh, hello, Amanda, I didn't see you there. Hello, beautiful lady. We would love to have you at the half-day workshop. So it's this Wednesday, the 17th of February. What are we, 2021? I don't think of the year. It is at 10 a.m. Adelaide time, so Australian Central Daylight Savings Time, and it goes for about 3 hours. So I've been holding these workshops since late last year, and they are incredible. We get so much interaction from all the ladies who come, and you know, they are a safe space where we can just really talk about what is truly, honest to God, happening in our lives. They're incredible. So we would love to have you there. I believe my beautiful assistant Alexis is going to put the link up in the Facebook chat right now. On the business page, so you'll be able to find it there. Now, if you're watching on Instagram, the link, you'll find my link tree in the bio, and when you click on that link, it's actually the top one that you'll see, so you can go and book in for that half-day workshop there. So my beautiful ladies, thank you all for joining me. it has been, I love these Monday Magic webinars. They're so much fun. I love coming on and talking to you. And I just want to put a call out to, if you would like me to talk about a topic, a certain topic that's maybe, you know, you've got a question about, please let me know. Pop it in the comments below. If you're watching the replay, put hashtag replay and let me know that you're watching, you know, and I come back and I'll comment, you know, I'll make sure that I reply to all the comments. And it would be lovely to, you know what you would like to hear about, because this is what this show is all about. It's not about me coming on, it's about you. So let me know if you've got anything that you would like me to come and talk on and share advice on. All right, my beautiful people, I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and I will see you next Monday. Okay, bye.